Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're just going to wait a few more seconds to give people a chance to trickle in.
How are we looking, Giovanna? How many people have we got here? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the wonderful world of Bucksmore.
Oh, got a couple more joining now. We've got about 10 of us in total so far. Hopefully, a few more people will join us as we get going.
Morning, Gretty. Lovely to see you here.
Right. I think we should go ahead and get started. Hopefully people will be joining us as we introduce the webinar. Thank you to those of you joining us this morning, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you. Thank you for being here. My name is Giovanna. I'm the marketing manager for Bucksmore. I'm joined today by my co-host, Graham, who some of you might know. He's the regional sales manager for Europe. Graham, I don't know if you want to just say hello.
Good morning, lovely people.
He's had his cup of coffee, as you can tell. Lots of enthusiasm. And we also have a very special guest today. We have Paul, who is going to be the center manager at KCL this summer. Some of you might also know him from the previous summer at KCL. Paul, I don't know if you want to just say hello as well. Might as well.
Good morning, one and all. Welcome.
So thank you once again for joining us. We will jump right in. The session is being recorded and it will be sent to you later this week as well so that you can watch it at your own pace and share it with your networks. So as you might already be familiar with, this is our range of courses that we offer at Bucksmore. Today we will be talking specifically about the English Foundation courses, including Bucksmore English, English Plus, Intensive English, and IELTS Prep. To give you a bit of just an overview of what our English Foundation courses are like, this is for students who might be in various stages of their English language development journey, but we try to offer them a range of courses that can give them targeted tuition to offer rapid development. And so that's why we have this range of courses. And it's all tailored to a summer school setting as well. We understand students are coming here to learn, but they're also trying to enjoy the summer. So we try to give them the best of both worlds. We have Bucksmore English for 11 to 15-year-olds who are at any stage of their English language development. We have English Plus, a variety of different subject streams within that to give them a mix of English language tuition with a little bit of something extra. We have intensive English at 2 different centers, and we have IELTS preparation, which is all about focusing on how to best prepare for the IELTS exam. Our curriculum, you can see there's 5 pillars. So we have our language and subject studies, we have our testing and inductions to really make sure the students know what to expect, to make sure that they know how quickly and how well they're developing their language skills. Our lessons are structured in such a way that they get a lot of theory and practice, but they get hands-on projects as well to help them further develop their English language skills. That's also supported by our excursions and activities to historic, iconic locations around the UK, which again allow them to apply their English language skills in the real world instead of just in the classroom. So let's go into some example excursions, as I just mentioned. So here are some examples of where students might be going this summer if they were to join us for our summer programs. We have walking tours. Wherever students are based, they will probably engage in some form of walking tour of their local area. So for instance, with Brighton, they get to explore these coastal sites such as the Brighton Pier, the Royal Pavilion, and the Lanes, which is really famous as an independent shopping district. Students might go to Portsmouth, where they explore the historic dockyard, the ships, and they also get an opportunity for shopping at Gunwharf Quays. Students might go to Canterbury, where they have a punting tour and they visit the famous Canterbury Cathedral. In London, they might go on a riverboat cruise, the Royal Museums in Greenwich, and a visit to Cutty Sark. Students might go to Thorpe Park, which is a really famous theme park here, and it has record-breaking roller coasters and attractions. Also based in London, they might go on the Royal Politics walking tour as well as visit Buckingham Palace. So that's just an example of the sorts of excursions that we plan for our students to attend. To give you an overview of the week in the life of a Bucksmore student attending our English programs, Our arrival and departure days is always on a Tuesday, so that's when we'd be expecting students to be arriving or leaving, depending on how long they're staying with us. And straight away, Tuesday, they're settling in, they're, trying to get to know each other, getting to know their new surroundings. On Wednesday, we jump straight in with English lessons. There will be a half-day excursion in their city of residence, and they'll have an on-site activity as well. You'll notice that with all of our courses, we do excursions, but we also do on-site activities to make sure the students are engaged, they're being encouraged to interact with one another, to make friends, and to really get the most and apply their English language learning as well at any given opportunity. As the week goes on, they go on more excursions, there's activities, they develop their English through the project preparations, they have their English lessons, and we really try to make sure that they get a range of different activities to suit their interests. Our staff on site will also obviously adapt and give them options and choices of activities so that they really get the most out of their experience, and everyone's invited to participate in that way. At the end of their experience, they do have a graduation and a party to mark the occasion and really bring things to a close and make it full circle for them to really acknowledge, the time, effort, and the challenges that they've overcome as part of their experience during the summer. It's a real celebration of their time with us. To go into a little bit more detail on each of our English programs, we'll start with Bucksmore English. So this is consisting of 20 hours of English language tuition. Our maximum class size is 15 students, so we keep it quite small so that they get a lot of one-to-one individualized support and feedback. We offer 2.5 excursions per week. As you saw in the Week in the Life, they'll have a half-day excursion and then 2 full-day excursions later in the week. For Bucksmore English, we accept students aged 11 to 15. We don't have a minimum English language level. We accept them whatever point they're at in their journey, and we will sort them into classes based on their English level. This program is hosted in Brighton at our OIC Brighton Center from the 30th of June to the 28th of July. The minimum duration that they can come for is 1 week, but it's up to you or up to the student and their family how long they would like to stay for. They can stay for that whole duration of the program, or they can come for a minimum of 1 week. And it's worth mentioning as well that our evaluation tool of how the students are doing is based on the Common European Framework of Reference Scale to ensure that when they finally finish their course, they receive a certificate that very clearly states what level they're at. And that is based on this framework so we can ensure accuracy and reliability for our students. English Plus takes that English language tuition from Bucksmore English and merges it with 7.5 hours of a plus choice subject. So they get 15 hours of English language tuition plus 7.5 hours of their plus choice. So with this course, again, the maximum class size is 15 students. They still get 2.5 excursions a week. The age group is the same. And it's also based in OIC Brighton with no minimum English language level. We have a series of subject streams. I'll go into more detail on the following slides for each one to give you an idea of what's included in those. For this course, they would need to attend for a minimum of 2 weeks. They can attend for a full 4 weeks at Brighton, but they would have to choose 2 different English Plus subjects in that instance. So each subject is for 2 weeks. So our first English Plus subject is adventure. So this is for students who are thrill seekers, who like being outdoors, who like trying out new activities that they might not have been able to try out before. This year, we can offer students sailing, indoor climbing, windsurfing, high ropes, kayaking, paddleboarding, and rafting. So again, they're not just learning how to use English language in the classroom, they're then able to apply these to these sports, learning even more specific terminology within these activities as well related to what it is that they're doing. They get to be outdoors in the beautiful coastal seaside town of Brighton and surrounding areas, so it's a really unique opportunity for them to get to explore that side of the UK as well. English Plus Business Entrepreneur, so it's for students who are thinking about business studies as something that they might be interested in for the future. If there's somebody who really likes thinking about things such as leadership, idea generation, building a brand, doing market research, those are all components of the workshops that they would take part in as part of the 7.5 hours of plus choice tuition. They get to collaborate on a project together, and they'll have to then pitch that project at the end as part of a formal presentation. So these are skills that they'll be developing not just with English language, but teamwork, creativity, confidence, presentation skills. So these are all skills that they can take beyond the classroom once again and apply to potential future careers and in further studies as well. English plus science, so those are for students who are very curious and looking to explore subjects that maybe they don't get a chance to explore within their science lessons in school, and challenging them a little bit to go outside of their already established zones that they're familiar with in science. So students will get a chance to explore subjects such as robotics, coding, forensic science, and rockets. So these all form parts of the workshops that they'll be engaging with as part of this program. Arts exploration for the creative students who maybe want to dabble with different areas of the arts. So we try to really provide a range within the 2-week session. They'll look at areas such as visual art, dance, various different styles of dance, drama, and music. So really trying to give them a feel and a taste of all those different areas so that we can also cater to different interests and maybe get them to explore areas that they haven't considered before. With multi-sports, so this is for students who like to stay active, who like to be outdoors as well, and like to be a part of a team. So we're looking at things like football, tennis, and tag rugby for our students this summer, especially in Brighton. It's an absolutely fantastic location for students to be outdoors, to be playing sports, and hopefully the English weather will cooperate as well. But this is all about getting them to step outside the classroom. Once again, build those teamwork, confidence skills, outside of the lessons where they can also still be applying their English language skills. With intensive English, the clue's in the name, it's a bit more intensive, so they have 25 hours of English language tuition. The maximum class size is still 15, so we're still getting a lot of targeted, individualized one-to-one support by keeping those classes small. They still get 2.5 excursions every week. The age range is slightly different, so it's 13 to 17-year-olds. Again, no minimum English language level. This is offered at 2 different centers. So we offer intensive English at our St. Hilda's Center that's part of the University of Oxford, as well as the King's College London. Please note that the date ranges are slightly different. At St. Hilda's, we have an extra week. At St. Hilda's, they can opt to come for a 1-week minimum. At King's College, they would have to come for 2 weeks minimum. It's worth bearing in mind. With IELTS prep, again, the clue is in the name. This one is very focused on developing students' understanding of the IELTS exam and all the different components that make up that exam. So we will make sure that they are taught by experts in that field, making sure that they have access to the marking criteria, learning exam skills, looking at exactly what to expect from the actual exam. They will get bi-weekly in-house mock exams to prepare them. And at the end of their course, they'll actually sit an official IELTS exam. The cost for that exam fee is already a part of the package pricing for this program, just worth mentioning. They get 25 hours of IELTS preparation tuition, same number of excursions. The age range is slightly different again, 15 to 17-year-olds. We do have a minimum English language level for this course. That's a B1 intermediate level. As I mentioned, the exam fee is included, and this course is hosted at King's College London from the 30th of June to the 28th of July. The minimum duration is 2 weeks for the course. And now over to Graham. Take it away.
Fantastic. Okay, hello everybody. So you've heard a little bit about what we offer in terms of the academic side and what's available with the English programs, but just as important is where are the students going to stay, where are they going to sleep, and what's the accommodation like. So we're going to have a quick look at those now with our 2026 venues. Thank you so much, Joanna. Joanna's in charge of moving the slides forward, so thank you very much. First up on the list, we have Oxford International College in Brighton. This is, or shall I say, quickly becoming our flagship location. It's absolutely amazing. It's set in Brighton. It had a multi-million-pound refurbishment renovation about 18 months ago, 2 years ago. So literally everything is new there, from the bedrooms to the bathrooms to the classrooms, laboratories, the dining areas, literally everything. It's got extensive grounds that go along the front and the side of the building. It's got a security gate at the front, so that when people come in, they have to be checked in, making sure that all the students are safe. The accommodation itself is predominantly, well, I say predominantly, it's all twin rooms, but predominantly they are ensuite rooms. But there are some that do have a shared bathroom, usually shared between 2 or 3 bedrooms, so not too many students. We've got outdoor sports facilities, and it's only 45 minutes there from Gatwick, about an hour and a half from Heathrow. It's a shame we can't turn this photograph around as well, because if you turn the photograph around, you actually have an amazing view of the sea. Ocean views in England, what more could you ask for? If we could move on, please. Here we've got some photographs just to show you. So I think possibly the most interesting one would be the second photograph in from the top, which is actually from one of the bedrooms. While they are twin rooms, they are designed in such a way that when students are actually in bed asleep, it's very private and you can't actually see one another in the other beds. Obviously, all of the accommodation, this goes across the board for all of the locations, is separated between males and females, and never shall the two meet in the middle. If we could move on, please. So, King's College London, next. Fantastic location. It's right in the centre of London. I always say to my agents that the accommodation at King's College is like a hotel. It is genuinely fantastic. It's single rooms, it's ensuite bedrooms, completely modern, extremely clean, and they're set into kind of apartment style blocks. So you can have anywhere from, I think the smallest one is 4 and it goes up to 6 bedrooms in each particular block. They all have access to a small lounge as well, where they can meet their other friends and the other students. They will have access to things like a kettle as well when they're in KCL. It's electronic key card access, so again very secure. As you enter the building, again there is a manned station which is just to the right of you as you enter the building, so that people are obviously checked as they come in and out to keep the safety high for our lovely students. It's also just a stone's throw, and when I say a stone's throw, I mean literally kind of 15 or 20 metres from the entrance to the Waterloo campus at King's College, which is the campus that we use. Again, very close to airports. Really depends on the traffic with the times, though. We all know what capital cities can be like, but it's roughly an hour from Heathrow and also an hour from Gatwick. We're going to be doing intensive English, IELTS prep, and we also do young professionals here at KCL. If we go to the next one, please. Few of the pictures here from KCL. As you can see, the bedrooms are amazing. There's lots of space in there. There's also room for them to study if they have to do some study in the evening, and lots of spaces for them to relax in and see their other student friends. Next slide, please. So at KCL, you can probably see on your screen that we also have another gentleman with us called Paul Warrington. He's our centre manager, or one of our centre managers. He's going to be the centre manager at KCL in London. So we thought we'd introduce him to you, and we've got a few questions. Paul, before we start the questions, if you'd like to say hello and just give a kind of 60-second intro into who you are and what's a day in the life of a manager like.
Of course. Good morning, everyone. I'm Paul, the centre manager at KCL. I've been in the, let's say, summer school world since 2007. I don't think there's a role I haven't performed all the way through. But centre manager is that's where the Bucksmore stops, as we say.
Yep.
And as an English language teacher for about the same time, self-qualified, I'm in a unique position to see to have a bit of empathy with the students as well upon their
Of course.
arrival. My background, I've been to many countries. I've been fortunate enough to work in the Czech Republic, or Czechia as it is now known, Thailand, Turkey, and Croatia. So I've ingratiated
Lots of
myself in
experience.
many different countries with many different needs, many different wants. But I'll tell you one
Right.
thing, a teenager is the same wherever you go.
So, as you can see on the screen, we've put together a few questions. These are kind of questions that come in often from agents, from students, from parents. So things like, what can a student expect? So when they arrive, first day at the centre, what can they expect when they walk through the door and see your lovely face?
So first impressions really do matter, and none more than when a young person arrives at our centres. There is a big registration area that we have at KCLs, I'm sure that every centre, where we greet the students upon arrival. We sometimes the students are on their own, sometimes they arrive with their parents or family members. And once again, the empathy is really important. Some of these students will be the first time they've been away from their families,
Of course,
away from
yeah.
their families abroad. Some of them haven't even flown before, maybe.
Right.
So just getting through the airport can be, from their point of view, quite an experience. So that's why from the moment they touch the ground to the point that they get to the centre, Bucksmore is with them. On registration, we go through a very, very strict process of identification, making sure of any needs, wants, whether that be dietary medication. We look after any documents, all the bureaucratical stuff. Communication is key.
Yep.
Communication is key at any part and any level of any organization, and communication with the young people who attend the Bucksmore centres is just as important, if not more, since these people have a different level of English. The one student that arrives can be different to the person that's behind them. So we make sure that we get our messages through. We make sure that we're with them. We make sure that we foster an atmosphere where they want to and can feel as though they can communicate with any member of Bucksmore staff. We're
Perfect.
under no illusion that the clients, the parents, they're sending their most prized possession across the planet. And we are under no illusion of the importance of that role.
So, sorry to interrupt, just to kind of move on to the second point where you mentioned about students will come and they're from obviously different backgrounds, different levels of English. Could be the first time they've been on a plane. And while they're with us, obviously, they will be not alone because they're with all their other students, but away from family. So if we move on to the second point, if we have families or agents that may know the students and they're in the UK during the programme, is it possible that parents can come along? Can they meet their children? Can agents come along and check on the students? How does that work?
Well, I mean, as beautiful as Brighton is, London does have a very high attraction, not only for the young people, but also for parents, families, and agents alike. It's the hub of the UK, if you will. So we get a lot of parents who are actually staying concurrent with their children in London. So, of course, they're allowed to meet them, but we have a strict process to go through. It's not my mum's coming, I'm meeting her at 7, okay, have a good time. No, there is a strict process where Bucksmore or myself will have direct communication with the parent or agent, and identification through a passport will need to be sent prior to the arrival. And an arrival time is coordinated with myself. And as Graham mentioned, because KCL is such a secure site, the access cards get you into the foyer of the building. You need an access card to actually get beyond the foyer into the courtyard of KCL, and then an access card to get into the building that they're staying in. So they will wait in the waiting area, and then we would perform the necessary identity checks. We would confirm the itinerary of the students, where they're going, what they're going to do, what time they will be back, so then we can meet them upon arrival and guarantee their safeguarding needs when they get back.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's good, I think, as well for agents particularly to know that if they do have some anxious parents, which is, you know, very normal, we understand, they can obviously tell those parents, look, if you're in the UK, then you're able to stop by and just check in and see how your little treasures are doing. And you were talking as well about the security of the campus. What do staff do in general? Not just yourself, but obviously the other Bucksmore staff on campus, everyone from the sort of teachers, I suppose, yourselves, activity leaders. How do they create an environment that supports students and makes them feel safe? And that's either, you know, on campus, but also with excursions when they're off campus.
So we have daily meetings. Every morning prior to breakfast, we will meet the entire student body. This is another chance for a register or roll call. We then give information about the day's coming activities, trips, excursions, anything that they need to know. Once again, communication is key. We tell the students who's going on the trips with them. The staff, as Graham mentioned, all the accommodation at KCL is en suite. We have staff that are on the same floors as the student, which means there's a point of call right there on site for any needs or wants, as well as having direct access to the center manager's phone, the emergency number, which I have, of course, 24/7. When we're to the point where the security and the safeguarding of the students, to be honest with you, if the students are moaning about how much we're with them and taking care, great, we're doing a good job. That's
we know they're safe.
Leave us alone. Yeah, great. That's a great moan. Love it.
Yeah. And we also know that for some of the older students, this isn't something that's available for the younger students, but for the older students, they can have, with the express permission of their parents, some kind of remotely supervised free time. All of the details around that are available on the website for anybody who isn't sure what remotely supervised free time is. But when they are on this kind of free time and they potentially could be outside of the campus, how do we make sure that they're safe? I mean, are they just allowed to walk out and leave on their own? Do they have to be in groups? How does it work?
The students, once again, this is broached in the meetings and the daily meetings, also upon arrival as well. Students on free time, they will go in groups, a minimum of 3 together. The activity manager coordinates with them. They will have their phone numbers given to the activity manager, so they're always contactable in groups. At certain points, every 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, depending on the free time, the students must communicate with a picture of the group. Mm-hmm. So then there is a visual contact with them. They must remain contactable at all times. Brilliant. There is the activity manager, then the meeting point is actually the reception of KCL. It's a great, because it's in the center of London. And therefore the activity manager and activity leader will stay there completely monitoring all communication and arrival times and departure times.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Paul, thank you so much for your time and for answering some of those questions. Really, really appreciate your insight there. Is there anything, before we move on to the next slide, is there anything particularly important or relevant that you want to mention that maybe I've forgotten to ask?
To be honest, I mean, I would like to get across that from Bucksmore's point of view, the number one key. We talked about all the wonderful courses that are available just at Bucksmore intensive, at KCL intensive English, the IELTS. But safeguarding is the number one priority. Without that, nothing else works. So I would like to stress that for the agents to relate to the parents that you have my word that we take supreme care of the young people. We're in no doubt about the importance of our role in that.
Fantastic. It's all part of the Rolls-Royce Bucksmore service. Yeah. So thank you ever so much, Paul. If we could move on, please, Giovanna, to the next slide. And we'll take a look at the next venue, which is the prestigious St Hilda's College in Oxford. Everybody knows of Oxford University, and we have for years been resident at St Hilda's College in Oxford during the summer. It's a fantastic location. It's right next to the River Cherwell, where you can go punting, and we often take our students punting. It actually has its own punt station on the riverbank right next to the university, so you don't even have to leave the campus to jump on a punt and enjoy an hour or two on the river, which, and I genuinely am saying this from a personal perspective, it is one of my favourite pastimes, being on the river in the summer. So I highly recommend it to all of the students who come. For the English students, because we're going to be doing intensive English and also our pre-university at St Hilda's, for the intensive English students, we have twin rooms, which are clean and modern and well looked after, and they have shared bathrooms. The bathrooms are generally shared between 2 or 3 of the rooms, so a bathroom could be shared between 6 students, obviously all of the same gender, as I mentioned earlier, across all of the locations. We separate our accommodation between male and female accommodation. We have auditorium, we have sports fields nearby here at St Hilda's College. The college itself is pretty much in the centre of Oxford. So the moment you walk out of that front gate, which again is very secure, it's a 24 hours porter lodge there. As you come in, there's a big iron gate and fencing, so only the students have access, the students and teachers have access to the site, and it is just a really nice place to be, St Hilda's. If we could move on, please. There's some photographs just to highlight some of the things that I was saying. You may not believe this with it being England, but trust me, I have actually heard many students complimenting the food at St Hilda's as well. So you may not want to believe it, but it's true. It's true. Moving on to the next one, we have, yep, that's it then. That's the last of them. I was forgetting we're just doing the English program, so I was thinking we're going to go through all of the other accommodation ones. So there we are. Just to introduce you to the Bucksmore team, the next slide has all of the team that you will be dealing with on a regular basis if you work with Bucksmore and send students to us. We've got Rianne, who is one of our fearless leaders, the head of marketing and admissions. We have the wonderful Giovanna, who also works with Rianne in marketing. For closed groups outside of Europe, we have Michelle, who takes care of those for us. Anybody who works with admissions will probably already know Michael, the amazing Michael, and the absolutely fantastic Marjan. And then down there at the bottom, that big beaming smiley face, if you recognise, is mine. We're here to help During the summer, I am going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for anybody else when I say this. But during the summer, I feel it's important, certainly for students from Europe who I deal with. My phone is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if there are any issues at all, you can contact me, even if it means waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. That is absolutely fine. We obviously do have a structure in place for if there are problems on site and campus, or if students are feeling a bit lonely, or if they need somebody to talk to. But sometimes students can be a little bit shy and they don't want to necessarily go directly to the camp manager. So they may phone their parents, in which case their parents are very welcome to phone me at any time of the day or night, and I will then wake up the staff on campus to tell them what the problem is, as I've done a few times, haven't I, Paul, in the past. So yeah, that's the Bucksmore team, the admissions and marketing team. We are here to help. We love helping. We're always happy to help you, so please contact us if you need us. Is that the final slide, or do we have more? We may have a QR code for you to scan. Here we go. Let's put this up. Get your phones out, point them at the screen, and take a photograph of the QR code there, which will take you to our agent Dropbox, where you can get all of the marketing information that you need. Please read it. I'm sure this happens to you as well with your students, but I can't tell you how many times I have sent information, and then literally 2 minutes later, somebody will write back to me and say, can you just tell me the price of this or that? And it is literally in the information that I've just sent to you. So please, if you're going to have a look at these things, read through them carefully. They have everything you need, and will answer most of your questions, sometimes quicker than I can. Is that the final slide, or do we have more?
No, that's it. We have, thankfully, some time for Q&A. I'll leave the QR code on the screen for a little bit longer in case people are still scanning that. But if you do have any questions, aside from what we've already covered in the presentation, please do put them onto the chat, or there's also a Q&A function on this webinar. But that's it from our side, unless anybody has any questions.
Please ask some questions. We love questions. Make them difficult ones for us.
So Lucy, thank you for your question. You've asked, do you have the marketing material in Chinese language? Yes, we do have some of our materials that have been translated into Chinese, so we can provide that as well. I believe they might be on the Dropbox, but if they're not, I will make sure to add them. But some of those are available, yes. Any other questions? No worries.
I don't actually see the questions, so if there are any,
I'll tell you, Greg,
yeah,
if there are any relevant to you.
Yeah.
So the pricing would depend on, sorry, this is another question from Lucy. So the pricing would depend on the course and how long the students are coming for. On our Dropbox, we do have a price list that breaks down the course pricing. So I would recommend checking that in the first instance.
I can see that actually in the chat. Would you keep the same in the same country? If that is, I'm going to translate that into, is pricing universal across the board? Absolutely, yes. There is no favoritism. We occasionally will release discounts, like for example the early bird discount that we have, which unfortunately is now finished. But whenever there are discounts, we generally release them across the board internationally, just to keep things fair. It wouldn't be very fair if we were offering a program at a cheaper or a more expensive price to some agents, especially in the same country than others. So no, we are quite strict with that, and with pricing to make sure that everything is fair.
Any other questions? I'm going to take it as we've done such a good job covering so much information. I don't think we do have any more questions. But in any case, if anything does come to mind for you after this webinar is over, you can always get in touch with us and check anything that you just aren't sure of or where to find a resource. Please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Sorry, Giovanna, there's one
Mhm.
more that's just come through. So peak times, it really, again, it depends on the program. What we tend to find is, for example, with the intensive English, the second, third and fourth weeks tend to be extremely popular. There may be some information. Giovanna, do you have any kind of data on how things are looking at the moment this year? It will probably now contradict what I've said and say it's a different week, but
Yes, we do have some limited spaces for the first 3 weeks of intensive English at St. Hilda's. We do send monthly availability updates through our agent newsletter, and we also make this information available to our global recruitment team. So if you're in touch with a specific global recruitment team member from Nord Anglia, they also have access to that information and can give you up-to-date numbers if there's anything to be concerned about for your region. As some of you might be aware, we have a nationality cap as well, for 20% per nationality, to ensure that we keep a diverse mix of students on our courses so they get the most out of the experience. So it's also worth checking in with your regional manager about that, because even if a course still has availability, it might be that the nationality cap for your particular country has been filled up. So it's always worth checking to keep up to date with that
very
as
good
well.
point. Yeah, yeah. There must be somebody else. It can't all be Lucy. No more questions from people? Come on. Let's try and get a difficult question.
Okay, don't tempt fate, Gray.
We like the difficult ones. We like the difficult ones. I say we give them what, another 60 seconds, Giovanna?
Okay.
And if we don't hear any other questions, then yeah, like you say, I'll just assume that we've done an amazing job.
I think we're good. Okay, well, like I mentioned, in any case, please do get in touch with us if anything comes to mind after this. This has been recorded. We will be sending this around to you later this week so that you can watch at your own pace and share with families if any of this information is useful. I'd like to also just take the opportunity to thank Paul once again for joining us this morning to speak so well about the experience. And it's really, really valuable to get that kind of insight from somebody that's going to be on the ground with the students 24/7 during the summer. So thank you so much, Paul, for joining us. It's very, very helpful.
You're welcome.
Right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today, for taking the time this morning to hear all about our English courses. Thank you so much for your support, and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.